let's look at how we might get our animal to attack here. But before we start that, I'm going to go to the variables here, and I'm going to set the 4 variables to things that I want. So, for example, the player name I'm going to set to Big Bear. Again, I'm sure you'll have a better name than me. The enemy name I'm going to set to Atty. Enemy, also the player health, I'll set my health to 50, and then the enemy health I'm going to set to 45, just to make it a little bit easier for the main player here. Okay, so now when I hit the green flag, great. So those have all been updated there. Okay. Now, the next thing that I'm going to go in and do is let's organize some sort of attack here. So if I grab that, now I want it to be sort of mostly like one of those old school, more text sort of based things. So I will be using physical text here. In Scratch, you do have the potential to record your voice and do all those sorts of things, but I'm going to be using text here to get started. And I'd like you to as well to get started. So I'm going to get the baddie to say not hello because it's not being friendly at all. It's going to say Patty uses swipe. Let's make up an attack there. And then it's going to say it inflicts 20 damage, for example. Okay. So let's run that full screen just to test to see if it works. Baddie uses swipe. It inflicts 20 damage. Okay. Now, what I really want is not to just print that text. I want to use the variables that I have here. So I want to be able to use player name instead of Batty. Enemy name instead of Batty, because it might be different. So if I go over here to the operators, and if I get this one here called join, and no, I don't want to join apple and banana. I want to join join swipe and full stop. And I'm actually going to say users swipe, and I'm going to put a space. I'm going to put a space before that because there's a space between the words. And then if I go to variables and take the enemy name and put it in here, now if I click this, it says Batty uses swipe because it's joined the enemy name and uses swipe. So I'm going to put that in here. Now, if the enemy name was different, for example, evil bat or something, and I'll make this bigger. Now it says evil bat uses swipe. So that's really cool. We can put our variable in there. Same thing here. It inflicts something, but not necessarily 20 there. I think I want it to actually do a random amount of damage. I'm actually going to grab another variable, make another variable here called damage. And I'm going to click this little button here to make it invisible because I'm just using it internally. So I'm going to say when Baddie or whatever it is uses swipe, I'm going to set damage to, and in operators here we have a pick random button. So I'm going to set it somewhere between, let's say, 6 and 20. Okay. And then here, when it says it inflicts so much damage, etc., if I get a join here and I write it inflicts, and then I can get damage here and put it in there. Now let's run that and see what happens. Evil Bat uses swipe. It inflicts 12. Now we might want it to say 12 damage, and you can actually put another join block in the second part there. So you could actually put another join in there and say it inflicts, and then join it to damage and damage. Now that might be a bit confusing, but the first damage is actually worth a random number. This is just the text damage. So it'll say it inflicts, whatever the damage is, and then the word damage there. So let's test that. Always important to test things, make sure they work. Evil Bat uses swipe. It inflicts 19 damage. I'll run it again. Evil Bat uses swipe. It inflicts 13 damage. So that's working really, really well right there. Now, we probably want to actually change the player health as well at that point. So what we would do is if we went down to variables here and said, now there are a few ways we could do this. You could change the damage, but it's going to be going down. It's going to be a negative number. So I might just take the set one here, set damage to, and then I'm going to get the minus operator here. So I'm going to set damage to whatever, set player health to whatever player health was before, minus the damage. Okay, and then that should work in our game. Let's have a look. So if I run this, it says Evil Bat uses swipe. It inflicts 17 damage, and you can see our player health here has gone down to 33 from 50, which is minus 17. So that's working perfectly well. Okay, so there we are. We've created an enemy attack, and we also have setting up all the variables at the start, just as a bit of an extension. And you don't have to do this, but what I was thinking is it's a bit boring if the bat always attacks with the same, or your character always attacks with the same attack. So what I'm actually going to do, and you don't have to, but it's just an extension, is I'm going to go down and click on make a list here. And I'm going to, in here, I'm going to call it enemy attacks. Make sure it's for all sprites. And I just realized I already had that because I made it in a previous version of this video. So once I've made that list, and I can just clear these off here, you can press the plus button to add attacks. So you could say swipe, flap, hit, swoop, and vomit if you wanted to. So there are 5 things in that list there. I'm now going to click on this button to hide it. And then instead of just saying uses swipe, I can go in here and take another join. Okay, and I'm going to say space uses space. Now I've got those spaces because it's a sentence and there's no space here or here. Now in here, we definitely don't want banana. What we want is a random one of those enemy attacks. So how we get a random one is if we go into variables here and let's just take this thing at the moment that says item 1 of enemy attacks. Let's try that. So if I hit there, uses swipe, press it again, uses swipe. Okay, it's always using the first item. But there were 5 items in the list. So instead of saying use item number 1 from the list, I could just put in there a pick random between 1 and 5. And now Evil Bat uses flap, Evil Bat uses flap, Evil Bat uses hit, swoop, etc. Okay, so that's just a bit of an extension that you can use if you wish to. Up to you. But now we have the enemy attacking us, and I'll see you in the next video.